My name is Rany Ng. I'm the Director of Product for our G Suite Meeting Solutions, and I'm super excited to be here today to talk to you about how we're thinking about the future of meetings. I want to talk to you about a few areas that we're focused on. We're going to show some cool live demos along the way, and then we're going to close it off with a fireside chat with Shopify. But before I dig in, I want to talk a little bit about how the workplace has changed pretty drastically. Our teams now span multiple offices and countries, and by 2020, 50% of the workforce is going to be working remotely. Right? And this shift is forcing organizations of all sizes to rethink how they equip their employees to stay productive and feel engaged while working remotely. But connecting needs to happen regardless of where someone is, and most of the time, we're not sitting at a desk or an office. And when we talk to Fortune 1000 companies, employees are actually not at their desk 50% of the time. So communication and collaboration tools really need to adapt to workers on the go. Now, technology has really transformed how, when, and where we communicate. And today, a lot of the enterprise users actually expect the same experience from work products that they get from consumer products. Now, when we take a look back, it took about 50 years for the telephone to reach 50 million users. It took YouTube just 4 years, and it took Angry Birds 3 months. All right, companies are feeling a lot of pressure to work faster and to compete to try to keep up with this pace of innovation. And we need to provide our teams with the right communication tools so that they can communicate in real time. And we really believe that the cloud has really enabled us to do this. And when we look at doc sheets and slides, we see that 74% of time spent is on collaborative work, meaning that there are multiple people actually working together in real time. And when I think back to when I first started using email, which was back in college a very long time ago, it blew me away. Right? For the first time, there was this easy way for me to be able to communicate with friends and family from anywhere at any point in time. And now, when we look at technology, we can chat with anyone from our devices. Right? Every single person is just an instant message away, and we can communicate a lot faster, more spontaneously, and in a less formal way than email. So speaking of informal, did you know that 92% of people online use emojis? Like, it's a fascinating stat. Did you see what I did there? So in just a few short decades, we went from communicating on paper with formal headers and proper capitalization to short, casual messages with a hint of emotion. And last year, if you were in my session, I talked a little bit about how my nieces love using video calling to talk to their grandparents. They love just seeing them on the screen. They carry the phone around in the house, tell them about their day, and they just really love it. They are now grown up a lot more, and they now have their own iPads, and they send me a lot of emojis. And we have now entered this new generation of communication where email, chat, video, and voice are all integrated channels of communication. So that's why at G Suite, we are reimagining communications for work so that we can help you stay connected anywhere and really create a unified experience across Gmail, chat, and now with the GA launch of Google Voice. So a big part of communications is about meeting with people. And there's something really magical about seeing someone face to face. Right? It's a lot more expressive, it's interactive, and it allows you to build a connection with someone. And we believe that all organizations, whether small and large, can really have this video-first meeting culture in order to help your teams communicate better anywhere. And that's why we launched our enterprise suite of meeting solutions for G Suite customers, Hangouts Meet Hardware, and Jamboard. Now, at Google, we have 99,000 people across 70 offices in 50 countries. So it's a lot to stay in touch. And we transitioned to a video-first culture about a decade ago because we recognized that in order for us to succeed at a global level, we needed to really change the way our people worked. And now Meet and Meet Hardware are the standard in our 20,000 video-enabled rooms, and we have about 10 years worth of video meetings every day at Google. And this whole shift has really changed the way our organization has worked. Now, as a pioneer for this video-first meeting culture, we understand the importance of ease of use, of having a really high-quality experience and the ease of administration. And we've built a lot of these capabilities into our tools. We have smart integrations with Calendar, with Chat, with Voice, with G Suite Assistant now, and all of these really are going to enable businesses to really join the movement for video-first meetings. But when I do a Google search for meetings the results are not so great. All right? Meetings are a waste of time. Meetings are toxic. Meetings are where things go to die. And with all of these changes happening, I think we have a real opportunity to actually change what the auto-suggested search results are now in the future. And so, as we think about where meetings are going, there are 3 areas that we're really focused on. One, we want to make meetings a lot more immersive by really elevating human connection. The second thing we want to do is to help you make the most of your time. We want to help you optimize productivity and really figure out how you can meet smarter. And then lastly, we want to make sure that your organization is maximizing ROI. So I'll walk through each of these different areas. So technology is often accused of creating less human interaction, but I think technology also has the power to bring a lot more humanity to the workplace. There's a research that was done by UCLA where they found that 55% of our communication is through nonverbal elements like facial expressions, posture, gestures. So being able to see people and hear people really helps you connect better and get your thoughts communicated much more clearly. But this whole concept of video meetings isn't a new one. I think Thomas Edison actually created some device back in 1879 to enable some sort of tele-video communication. And you've probably seen over the decades that there have been many rooms outfitted with video conferencing equipment, but those were pretty expensive and hard to maintain. Today, video is affordable, it's scalable, and integrated. Right? Meet makes it super simple for your teams to connect face-to-face and collaborate in real time wherever they are. And it's just one click away from Calendar, from web, from mobile, or even from a room. So we also make it possible for any businesses to have video meetings from anywhere, from a one-to-one meeting to an all-hands. And in fact, we can actually scale to 100,000 concurrent viewers based on secure Google infrastructure. So last year, we announced Meet live streaming, and we're excited this year to announce that we will soon support public live streaming, so people outside of your organizations can listen in with the ability for you to track who attended. And we will also be increasing the Meet participant size to 250 from 100 for enterprise customers. And we'll also adjust the maximum size for basic and business tiers as well. And all these will be coming very soon. Now, as I mentioned before, we have 20,000 video-enabled rooms at Google, but we also recognize that that's probably not the case for many of you. And it may sound daunting and expensive to really think about how you outfit every conference room with video. But one of the things that we've done is to really think about how we can create a simple, cost-efficient, and scalable way for you to modernize your room across all different sizes. So our Meet hardware kit, which can seamlessly also integrate with our Jamboard, is really secure and it can self-remediate so that you don't need a ton of IT staff in order to manage it and make sure your users have good experiences. But we also know that many of you have already invested in existing video conferencing equipment. And that's why we have a partnership with Pexip, which enables us to have Meet interoperate with existing systems like Cisco and Polycom, as well as Skype for Business. So you can continue to use existing hardware while getting some of the benefits of Meets. Now, we still want to continue giving our customers flexibility and choice. And so earlier this year at ISC, we announced a new partnership with Logitech, where we will be launching a new hardware portfolio of Logitech room solutions for Meet that are pre-configured bundles for huddles, mid-size, and large conference rooms. And for those of you who have smaller rooms like phone rooms or desks, we are refreshing our all-in-one Acer Chrome base for Meet with a nice, sleek new look. Now, in addition, I think many people are starting to think about different collaborative workspaces, and we will soon be supporting Meet for Jamboard, which is a great device where you can actually have seamless whiteboarding and brainstorming with presenting, all with the power of full screen video conferencing behind it. So while we strive to build a video-first meeting culture within all organizations, we also know that people are on the go, and sometimes you just can't join a meeting with video. And voice is super important to us, and we're really excited about the launch of Google Voice because it enables us to create a more integrated experience. So within Meet today, we already support 42 countries with dial-in, and we're excited to announce that coming soon, we are actually going to be enabling international dial-in for all users, regardless of your license or tier. And later this year, in partnership with the Google Voice team, we're also going to be expanding dial-in to even more countries, as well as international dial-out support that will be billed by Google Voice. So we're pretty excited to expand these capabilities for you. Now, the other thing we are supporting very soon is to have Hangouts Meet actually call you. And this is really to just give you a lot more flexibility. So you can now seamlessly listen and speak in the meeting by just answering your phone. You don't have to enter a dial-in, there's no passcode needed. And you can do that all while continuing to see the video and the screen sharing from your laptop. And finally, we see a future where people will have more spontaneous and what I like to call snackable video or voice conversations. Right? With the integration of our real-time communication tools across chat, Meet, and voice, we don't always need to wait for some formal scheduled meeting to get something done. Right? We can actually enable teams to have virtual hallway conversations and instantly hop on a video or voice call in the right moment. For example, when you're involved in a long Gmail thread, or if you're in a chat room and you know that you just really need to get on the call to talk it through. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Priya, who's going to talk about how we are optimizing productivity.
Thanks, Rany. So now that we've outlined a few different ways you'll be able to participate in calls with others, what next? How do you make the most of your time together? Now, in 2019, there are going to be 24 billion hours of meetings. Yeah, I didn't believe that when I first heard it. And that's a lot of time that we're spending in meetings. And I think we can agree that that's a lot of time that we're also spending at work. And so I'm going to tell you all a little bit about what we're doing to help you make the most of your time, and how G Suite can help you maximize your productivity. I'll also give you a little peek into what we're doing with intelligence to help you meet smarter. And that's all going to begin with your schedule. So with all of that time you're spending at work, it's becoming more and more important that you're able to set the boundary between that and the time you want to spend away from the office. And we want you to be able to do this with minimal interruptions that you face during your personal time. So to help with this, you can set your working hours in Calendar to let others know when you'll be around and when you'll be at home. And when you're out of office, Calendar will very soon show to your colleagues when they try to send you either a message or an email that you're out of office, to let you know that they can't expect you to respond, and make it easier for them to respect your personal time. So now, for the time that you are spending at work and are actually ready to meet with others, scheduling a meeting can still be a pretty big chore. And so we're continuously looking for ways to make this process smarter for you through Calendar. Now, thanks to our people-first approach in scheduling for Calendar, you can visualize everyone's schedule, and it's pretty easy to find a time that works for all. But even once you've found this time, we recognize that it can still feel like a shot in the dark to find the right conference room for all of you to meet in, especially when you aren't as familiar with remote buildings or remote conference rooms. And so Calendar is going to help you out with that as well. We've recently launched automatic room suggestions, which is where we provide an intelligent room suggestion based on all the attendees of your meeting and their work locations, the exact size and setup for your meeting, and any preferred meeting rooms that Calendar has been able to pick up on. And that's what we're doing for scheduling. So now that we've gotten the schedule out of the way, let's talk about how you can actually make the most of your time in your call. Now, with everything that can go on within your meeting, between multiple participants jumping on and off your call, presentations, different sizes of meetings, it can be tough to focus on what matters most during your meeting, regardless of whether that's the people that you're talking to or the ideas that you're trying to share. And speaking of the ideas that you're trying to share, 40% of meetings right now involve some sort of sharing or presenting content. And so we're introducing new ways for you to share your ideas. So this is now going to include supporting smooth video playback in presentations, and also making it so you can present locally within a meeting room. And as you switch between presenting and sharing and not, adaptive video layouts understand your meeting context and show you the right view to help all of your meeting attendees stay engaged and connected. So that's all well and good for meetings that have structured presentations. But sometimes our meetings aren't that structured. And we don't always have polished plans to share, and often need to jump into a call together just to brainstorm. Personally, my best ideas usually start out as chicken scratch on a whiteboard. But it's only after I'm able to share these ideas with others, and we're able to work on them together and develop them further, that they really turn into something worth pursuing. And so now, thanks to Jamboard on the web, mobile, and tablet, you can bring this brainstorm with you everywhere you go and collaborate from anywhere. Now, with all of this talk about how we're improving the experience during your meeting call, a very important part of having a good meeting is actually being able to hear and understand what's going on during your call. And this is currently a lot easier for some of us to do than it is for others. In fact, for anyone who's deaf or hard of hearing, and this currently makes up 4% of the US workforce, it can be difficult to follow along with what's happening in your meeting without making special arrangements ahead of time. We really want to make that better. And so starting today, we're adding the capability for you to turn on live captions during your Hangouts Meet meetings, powered by Google's advanced speech recognition technology. Now, with captions, it'll be much easier for anyone to be a part of the conversation, regardless of any hearing assistance they may need, or even if they're a non-native speaker. As a bonus, referring to captions can also help you follow up with your conversations later on. So this is just one example of how we're leveraging intelligence to improve your meetings. Let's take a peek at a couple more. So we announced voice commands last year to help you accomplish basic tasks in your meetings without missing a beat, such as dialing a phone number or starting your meeting. Now, this is an area we're going to continue to invest in to help you get the most productivity out of your meetings. We are also taking this one step further. Now, we've seen how helpful the Google Assistant can be in your personal life. But as we established, we spend a lot of time at work. And the Google Assistant should really be able to help us out there, too. And so we're bringing the Assistant into the workplace, starting with Google Calendar. Now, with Assistant in Google Calendar, I can ask it for help with my schedule and easily check on what my day looks like. And if you're anything like me and usually rushing in the morning but still want to get a glimpse of the day ahead, this is going to be particularly useful. And that's just the beginning of what we're looking to introduce here. So now, with that, I'm going to call my colleague Mandy up to the stage so we can run through some demos of some of the products I've talked about.
Okay, so thank you for joining us today. And as Priya was talking about on the Assistant is deeply embedded into my life. I'm not sure I can remember the last time I actually turned on a light switch, but I do know that daily I'm asking OKG to perform some tasks for me. And of course, I'm not going to try to do that in this room because I know you all have that on your phone. Google in the morning wakes me up. It sets my teapot going. It reminds my daughter that she needs to pack her Chromebook for school. And it also provides an intercom in case I need to push them a little faster out the door. And what's awesome is today, the Assistant got much smarter. And now it's going to be able to merge both my home and my work life together. So Priya and I are spread across the globe with our teams. We have people in Zurich, we have people in Stockholm, I'm in Boulder, Priya's in New York, and we spend a lot of our time communicating and collaborating in Hangouts chat. Let's jump into that.
And I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. We're excited to share that you can now use Hangouts chat right from within your Gmail window. All you have to do is go to the bottom left corner here, and it opens up full screen for you. Now, with this deep integration of chat within Gmail, we also support threading, just like you have in Gmail right now. This will allow you to keep track of multiple conversations at the same time without losing track of any single one.
Oh, it looks like Jennifer and Ashley really want to meet, so we should probably reply to them. So I'm going to go ahead and go in, and now they really want to meet right now, and as Rany was mentioning, one of the things we want to do is often elevate a conversation that we might be having in Gmail or in chat into a face-to-face meeting. Now I could do that by clicking this Meet chip and dropping a chip in, and with one click, everyone in the room could join the meeting and we could instantly be face-to-face. But since we're on stage, let's go ahead and schedule that meeting.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and get on that.
So what Priya is doing now is going to ask our intelligent scheduling bot to try to find us a time that we can meet. And what it will do is look across our calendars and see if it can find a time that's going to work for all of us.
I think what I'll go ahead and do instead is go ahead and drop that chip in for us to join the call.
Perfect.
Okay. So now let me go ahead and do that. Okay, just like that, we're in our call. And while we're waiting for everyone else to join, when everyone joins, what you're going to see are those adaptive layouts that I talked to you a little bit about later. So as you can see, as everyone started to jump on the call here, the layout is automatically shifting to allow us to have an easier time focusing on the people we're talking to. Hey, everyone.
Hi. Hi.
Great. So now, we really want to get Mandy into this call as well, but usually at this time, she's driving into work, so we probably can't expect her to join in on video.
It's not safe.
So let's have someone dial her in instead.
Please do.
Yeah, take the safe option.
That's right.
You are joining a call with more than 4 people. Please mute your phone.
So as you can see, maybe it's muting me there. So as you can see, Google Voice has called me. I'm going to actually hang up on this. But what I want to point out is that Google Voice has called, and with context of the actual meeting still available, so that I know who's calling and that I actually want to take the phone call.
Great. So now that everyone's actually in our call and ready to go, we want to make sure that everyone can follow along with what we're saying. So let's go ahead and turn on live captions. So to get captions going, what I'm going to do is go to the bottom right corner of my screen here and select the option to turn on captions. And with that, we're ready to say hi to everybody. Hey.
Hey. Hi. Thanks to captions, you can now keep track of what I'm saying.
And what I'm saying, without confusing it with what I'm saying.
And now it's a lot easier for anyone to be a part of the conversation. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
See you later.
Bye.
Okay.
All right.
Audio didn't get there.
All right, that was pretty cool to see. Thank you, Priya and Mandy. All right, so lastly, before we bring Shopify up, I want to just talk about our last area, which is really to help you maximize ROI. And we're really invested in thinking about different smart and scalable tools to give you the right insights and controls to really be able to manage your meetings within your organizations. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the things that we've been doing over the last year. And I think sometimes we don't necessarily, kind of talk about these things. But over the last year, our team has been working really hard behind the scenes to raise the quality bar to the next level in a few different ways for your meeting experience. With screen sharing, one of the things that's really important to us is to make sure that when you hit the next slide, it appears immediately for everyone so that you're always on the same page and talking about the same things. And so over the last year, we actually made this even faster by reducing latency by 6 times. Now, when it comes to audio, I think there's probably nothing more annoying than hearing your own voice and having echoes during a meeting. And what we've done is Meet is now using an advanced echo canceller, which is 75% more effective than the previous generation. So everyone can actually actively participate, and you don't have to do a lot of muting and unmuting. Now, in addition, our engineering team is constantly making improvements and optimizations behind the scenes and leveraging new, intelligent, disruptive ways to make sure that things like audio quality is always reliable and resilient, especially in those network conditions that are variable or have low bandwidth. And so you'll all be able to see a lot of these improvements just appear within Meet as you hop on meetings. And lastly, when it comes to video, Meet now supports VP9 on devices that support it. And this is the same codec that's used by YouTube and many other streaming devices. And we actually have seen that it's 30% more efficient than the previous version of the codec, which will help improve quality and also optimize bandwidth usage. But we also recognize that network administrators also need to have flexible tools to control and optimize bandwidth within your own organization and within your own networks. We already enable things like limiting bandwidth options on the client side today, and we're soon publishing our Meet backend APIs as well, so that you can whitelist Meet traffic or work to segregate the traffic between enterprise and consumer users. And coming soon, which has, I think, been a really popular request from our customers, we will be introducing per media client QoS capability. So you can now have a separate policy for audio and video and have a lot more control of how you want to manage your systems. Now, in addition to this, we're also providing you with a lot of rich analytics and insights to help you manage your meeting trends, to help you troubleshoot issues, and also monitor your network during calls so that we can actually tell you when your network is congested. And all of this data is available in audit logs that can actually be exported to BigQuery and Data Studio for you to do further analysis and see deeper insights. And you can slice and dice this data in any way you want, including by location, rooms, or even specific participants. Now, we also know that when we think about spaces, real estate can be scarce and expensive. And as a facilities manager within your facilities team, you always want to make sure that conference rooms are being utilized as efficiently and effectively as possible. So we are continuing to build out optimization and insights tools to help you maximize space utilization. With automatic room release, we free up all rooms if all participants decline. And at Google last year, we saw that we released about 60,000 hours of meetings from this feature alone. And we're going to continue to improve on this so that we can continue to give you more optimization capabilities. Now, alongside of this, we also have a room insights dashboard, which is pretty cool. It actually gives you a lot of insights on things like most popular and least popular rooms, things around which equipments are driving usage, and these metrics have been really helpful for a lot of our facilities manager just to understand and predict the needs of your organization and where and when you need to make future investments. And then finally, we are leveraging our experience at Google to help you scale and administer large meeting room deployments more effectively. With Meet hardware, we strive to make to build hardware that takes care of itself so that we can help scale your IT team and reduce maintenance costs. But our hardware is smart, and we'll try to auto-remediate so that it saves downtime when people are switching meeting rooms and getting their meeting started. Now, when our hardware can't fix itself, we want to make sure that we are, alerting you proactively. And so we have a rich dashboard that will show you the health of your devices really easily and cleanly on what's up and what's down. And then we also recently launched connectivity alerts, where we will automatically let you know if a peripheral is broken or it lost connectivity, so you can actually take care of the issue before it impacts a user. And all of this is ready to be integrated with your automatic ticketing systems as well. In addition to all of this, coming soon, we will be introducing improved device views within the admin console, and we'll also enable you to batch export your fleet information for further analysis. So as you can see, we're focused a lot on really thinking about how we can make meetings immersive, intelligent, and flexible for you. And we're really excited about our efforts around elevating human connection, helping you to make meetings a lot smarter so you can optimize productivity and also maximize ROI. And so with that, I think it'd be good to hear from a customer, and I'd like to welcome Chuck on stage from Shopify to tell us a little bit about their experience. Great. Take this. All right. Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yourself?
Good. So I think it would be helpful maybe to just kick it off by having you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe share a little bit more about Shopify and how long you've been a G Suite customer. And I will pull up a slide to help you with that.
Sure. All right. In sort of a nutshell, Shopify is the leading multi-channel conference platform. Shopify merchants use Shopify to design, set up, and manage their stores across multiple sales channels. This includes anything from web, mobile, social media, brick-and-mortar stores, pop-up shops, marketplaces. Essentially anywhere that merchants are looking to sell, Shopify is looking to provide a channel for them.
Great.
And then a little bit about me. I've been at Shopify about just shy of 18 months. And I'm responsible for the AV infrastructure team. So what this team does is designs, builds, manages, and supports all of our meeting rooms across all of our offices. So we're looking at about 300 plus meeting rooms across 11 offices.
Oh, all right. So I think earlier I talked about how at Google we sort of went all in on video conferencing, and it sounds like Shopify did the same thing given how many bookable meeting spaces you have across all of these different environments. Can you talk a little bit about what motivated you to embrace this video-first culture and how you approach thinking about your meeting rooms and equipment and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Shopify really from day one was video first. So we never sort of migrated from phone systems or anything like that. And really the driver there was to ensure that all of our employees really had the best tools possible to do their job. And we weren't starting with something that was an older tool and then having to move platforms as we grew as a company.
Okay. So I know you work with many people on our team, and I've heard all these things about how your office spaces are super cool. And I know you shared some pictures with us. Can you tell us a little bit about that room with the barrels in it?
That space is our meeting room or the sort of the entrance hall in our office, or one of our offices in Waterloo, and it was a former Seagram's distillery. So this is a barrel hall. So that's sort of original timbers from when it was a distillery. So it was a former distillery. So there's sort of around the corner from that, there's a bunch of kettles and things like that. And so what we tried to do was keep the history of the space while modernizing it with a video wall and video conferencing. We also run community events out of that space, as well as town halls, and have a live stream and broadcast capabilities there.
Yep. So I think a lot when I look at some of these pictures, there's a big difference between some of the layouts and environments. Like, what has been your philosophy to kind of create these different collaborative environments, and how have your users, I guess, responded to them?
Yeah, so it's sort of evolved over time. So I think early on what we were doing was we were just sort of building a mix of spaces. So we were building large and small meeting rooms, sort of hard surfaces, soft surfaces, sort of more standard meeting rooms, but then also something that you'd almost would be like a living room with couches and coffee tables. And so that sort of has evolved, and what we're doing now is working with our facilities and our real estate team to poll our users both through surveys, but also working with some of the tools that you highlighted, the room utilization and sort of those pieces to find out what spaces are most popular with people at Shopify, and then also sort of the right size of meeting rooms, so that we're evolving over time and building less hard sort of boardroom style rooms and more soft, comfortable couches meeting rooms.
Yep. And what trends have you seen with users? Or do they gravitate more toward one type of room or the other?
Probably 75 to 80% of our users prefer soft meeting rooms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. It's something to think about for everyone. So let's talk a little bit about administration for a little bit. You obviously have many meeting rooms spread across different offices. What has it been like to manage this large deployment of Meet hardware? Like, how big is the team that you have to support it? How have some of the tools within Meet helped or not you with some of the deployment efforts?
Yeah, so our sort of my team is divided up into sort of two groups: people that are looking after sort of the new builds, and then the team that looks on ongoing operations, upgrades, and support. And that support team, as of yesterday, is 5 people now. So a new employee started yesterday. So 5 people supporting more than 300 meeting rooms. So what we're finding from a support perspective is a lot of the tools, again, that you highlighted are allowing us to stay on top of issues with our rooms. So if there's problem with peripherals, we're seeing that in the room health dashboard before users report it. We're also working now with some of the automated messaging that comes out of the room health dashboard so that it tells you when there's a problem with the peripheral, and then if it's something that self-corrects, it tells you when it's corrected. Looking to tie that into our ticketing system so that we can open and close trouble tickets so that we can get metrics on if we have particular peripherals that are causing problems or not, so that we can look at swapping out hardware if there's issues with particular hardware or software versions.
All right, great. And are there any different ROI metrics and things like that that you look at as you think about your meetings and video conferencing?
From a pure ROI perspective, I don't sort of have a before and after because we were never a non-video first company. But what we do find is a lot of people will sort of, as was highlighted in some of the demos, conversations don't drag on too long in instant messaging. So what we find is people are very comfortable with video conferencing. So if we're using instant messaging and it goes back and forth a couple volleys, people will just jump on a quick call. We do the same thing with email threads. If they get too long, we just sort of jump on a video conference, and we find that we're able to resolve things more quickly. Shopify's a fast-moving company, so we don't want to spend a lot of time sort of volleying things back and forth.
Yep. And what are some of the productivity benefits that your users have seen by using Hangouts Meet?
So I think and again, part of it was what you called it in the presentation, but some of it is less miscommunication. It's easy to sort of read something one way and have someone mean something completely different. The same happens even with a voice call. You can talk to someone and they can say something, but their body language says something completely different. And you can sort of run down a path and realize that you've gone down the wrong path, sort of too late, or not too late, but further than you normally would. What we also find is people are just more inclined to interact with each other.
Yep. So I noticed that in one of these pictures you have 2 Jamboards hanging up there, and we know that Shopify has been investing quite a bit in Jamboards, both for collaboration as well as thinking about it from a meetings context. Can you share a little bit more about how you're using Jamboards and your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we've actually had Jamboards. It was before I started at Shopify, but I was actually told that we had Jamboards in Canada before Google did.
Oh, interesting.
we ended up buying them in the U.S., shipping them to the border, and then my lead actually drove to the border with a van and picked them up. So we've been using Jamboards for a couple of years and sort of working with the team at Google to progress the platform. We use them a couple different ways. So initially we had them just on carts, and people could book them or use them. And what we found with that is some people use them, but people didn't really know they were there, and we oftentimes couldn't find them. At one point, I was looking for a Jamboard, and I had to work with our network team to figure out what access point it was on, to figure out what meeting room the Jamboard was in, because I had no idea where to find it. So what we started doing is mounting them in rooms and pairing them with Google Meet, and we found by doing that, people knew where they were, and they were more prevalent in people's faces, so they started becoming more popular. And then from there, we've been on sort of the early testing of Meet for Jamboard, and we're now using, in some rooms, the only hardware that we're putting in the room is a Jamboard on the wall. So that's sort of a different way that we're using it, and people will use it either as just as Meet and Jamboard, or sometimes just as a Jamboard only. That room there in particular is something new that we're trying, are called sprint rooms. So what we have in this space is on one wall that's not in the photo is a 98-inch TV used for video conferencing. One of the Jamboards is paired to the Google Meet system in that room, and then the second one is just a peripheral Jamboard. And what we'll do is we'll have sort of on-site, off-site. So we'll bring entire teams to an office. So instead of having to book out space somewhere to do team building and sort of events like that, we'll do them in that space. And with the 2 Jamboards in a room, it allows you to sort of have separate collaboration and then pull it back together.
Oh, very cool. So one of the things that I think is often talked about in the industry is just about how we're trying to bring more intelligence into meetings and into rooms. And we talked a little bit about live captionings coming to meetings, but I know there's also talk about voice assistants, things like transcriptions, facial detection, all of that. What is your perspective about intelligence in meetings, and what are you most excited about?
So I think, and it's probably based on my background, as I spent sort of prior to being at Shopify, 15 years as a software project manager across a couple different companies. And one thing I am, of many things I'm not great at, but one thing I'm particularly bad at is running a meeting and taking notes at the same time. And I found that sort of if I had a day of 5 or 6 hours of meetings, I would then spend 5 or 6 hours of putting together notes, and minutes would come out late in the evening or the next day. With transcribing a meetings, I think it would make my life substantially easier.
Yeah, great. So I want to leave time for questions, but so before I think we kind of open it up, I think there are probably a lot of companies out there that are thinking about this video first meeting culture, thinking about their spaces and things like that. What advice do you have for organizations out there to kind of get started?
Now, it may sound a little cliche, but I think really you just have to sort of do it all at once and sort of jump in with both feet. If you sort of set up a couple rooms, you're going to sort of segregate your employees a little bit, and people won't completely adopt the video first sort of option that you're providing. But if you sort of swap everything out all at once, although it requires more planning and is sort of a heavier capital investment, you'll see substantial returns on that in my experience.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.